Councilmember McClinans,
Here.
Councilmember Wong,
Yeah.
Councilmember Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Tonight I'll be, again, leading us in the invocation, and Councilmember Orlando will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Lord God, again, we thank you for leadership. It's ordained by you to lead communities, and we thank you for government's role. We ask, Lord God, for great wisdom for us, for our counterparts in other cities around this great nation, for governors or president to deal with these unprecedented times related to COVID-19 virus. We ask for clarity. We ask that we would be those that would be able to bring both calm and clarity, direction, peace to our communities. And I pray that for mayors and councils and other convening governors and or government authorities across this land. So we thank you for the opportunity to lead tonight. We thank you for wisdom that you provide. Your word says that if you ask, you provide. So Lord, we ask for such. Pray your blessings upon this council meeting tonight. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, council member. So council, tonight we have a consent agenda. We also have a public hearing. On our consent agenda, I would like to request that we continue item number 23 to the next April 23rd meeting. There are some things related to their liquor license that are under play right now. So if we could continue that.
Mayor, I apologize.
City manager.
It is item 27.
Oh, did I say 27? I thought I said that.
You said 23, Mayor.
All right, item number 27. Thank you. I'd also asked for a brief presentation on item number 42 related to the extension of our temporary signage, and who will be offering that? City manager.
Yeah, so Micah? And Derek and his team are there as well.
42.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you tonight is Resolution 5361, which we're bringing forward to provide temporary sign relief to Chandler businesses affected by the COVID-19 outbreak. We all know that there's been a decrease in economic activity, and we often hear signs are a major part of getting their word out from our local businesses. So what we're proposing tonight will allow the zoning administrator to relax the temporary sign code standards. Businesses won't be required to fill out an application to submit. They can just go forward and do it. We are leaving this open until council directs us to move forward and rescind it. And the idea behind this is to be supportive where we can to get this out. So it's very flexible, it's very quick, and it's one way we can help gain visibility for our local businesses.
Yeah, I want to thank you and our zoning folks for responding to this and giving us as a city to offer some relief to our local companies, our landlords, et cetera, that will bring more attention, hopefully, to them and at least greater awareness and some street coverage. So, all right. Council, we've got a couple items that were called in on any of these that we'll read in, but any other questions? Councilmember Rowe.
Yeah, Mayor, I have a question on item number 25. I know that this is a temporary license with the idea of making it permanent. And so I'm seeing some comments regarding some concerns about that. So I'd like to hear more.
Mayor, Councilmember, the comments came from either a direct adjacent property owner, and he had attended the Planning Commission hearing as well as a neighborhood meeting. He actually offered that kind kind of kudos to this operator that anytime that things have gotten louder, he's immediately called the management and they immediately turn it down. The comments that were offered up at Planning Commission during this item actually related more to kind of the general level of noise in the area, not specifically this operator.
Okay, so I have some comments, further comments here in front of me. So do you have those, and do you want to address those?
I do not have those comments. I'm sorry.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Rowe, I do have those comments. If I can read those into the record, those were submitted today.
Yeah, I'd like to address that before we just pass this.
Okay.
So, just to be clear, what are you asking, council member?
Well, I think one of the very good things about when people come and ask for a license, we do have an ability to say, here's a temporary license, and that's with the idea that somebody is a good neighbor, and that there isn't any huge issues with people that live or work around these facilities. And so I have somebody here saying that there is an issue. So, so I guess for me, I have a concern. So,
So again, just to go back what Kevin said, the person who, again, I think I gave my copy to Dana on that, but the person who had come and presented didn't really have a problem with the local. They'd been responsive as we've asked others to do. It was more generic with others in the area. So tonight, this is a specific request related to the local. And this, my understanding is this individual doesn't have a problem with them.
all right, I'm fine with that. I feel like we have to tread with a little extra level of caution when it comes to these temporary licenses. And when we issue those, it's important that, we don't say, well, the time is up, and so now we all say yes, and that's fine. So anyway, I've offered my concern on it, and I read the note here, and so I'm fine with that. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. So I suppose before we vote on this, we do have a couple of comments to read into the record of people who normally would have been here. So, City Clerk.
So the comments I have to read into the record are for item number 25. We received a comment on the website today. It's from Jared Rapinski. He says, I am the liquor licensing agent for the local Chandler, and I was present for both the neighborhood meeting as well as the planning commission meeting. Therefore, I will disclose here two significant discoveries from those meetings. First, during the neighborhood meeting, the local Chandler's closest neighbor, Amos Clyde Vance, conceded that the local Chandler does a good job keeping the music down and is very responsive when he wants the music turned down. Note, Mr. Vance's house is approximately 30 feet away from the local Chandler. Also, a woman named Beatrice Navarro Morrison who was not present at the neighborhood meeting for the local Chandler. She attended a neighborhood meeting for the Perch, did attend the Planning Commission meeting regarding the local Chandler. However, her opposition does not appear to be with the local Chandler specifically, but seemingly with growth of downtown Chandler and all the commotion and disquiet related to that growth. In sum, the local Chandler has consistently proven to be a conscientious business when it comes to choosing entertainment that is compatible with the surrounding area and therefore worthy of the continuation of their entertainment use permit. Thank you for your time and consideration. And then tonight, we received comment from Amos Vance. He says, the music noise problem was turned down after my complaint. The local Chandler and the Perch need to be aware of music use permits. The Perch will not turn the music down. They think because it is entertainment district, they can play music sometimes a half a mile away. Please let these two bars know they have music use permits. Please make sure about the music is in the use, oh, please make sure about the music is in the use permit. I do not have a copy from planning and zoning. It was added during the meeting. Yeah, right.
Right. Council, any other questions? Otherwise, a motion is in order. Vice Mayor.
Mayor,
Um,
Mayor,
Hang on, Councilmember Stewart.
thank you.
So when we have, so this example is, this is an entertainment use permit. Again, we refer to it as an entertainment use, but he refers to a music permit. It's not something different. I mean, it's just, they're allowed to have outside entertainment, correct? And then there's limitations with that, I'm sorry. Contained within that too. I think we have hours and during the week, weekend, correct? That's all part of this, right?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, yes, Mr. Vance kind of refers to the music use permit, but anything that has live music, live entertainment, it does require the entertainment use permit. They had previously fallen under the liquor use permit that entitled the entertainment, but anyway, it is the same thing that he's referring to, is that he just wants them to be aware that they have this entertainment conditional use permit, and that they have all the conditions, including the ones that council, commission added at the commission hearing, to comply with.
Councilmember Stewart, you had a question, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to make sure that some of the language on Resolution 5361, number 42, does not sunset, that will go to a vote if we are to reinstate the side code. If we firm the sign code up again to where it is today, is there language that reference that?
Kevin.
Mayor, council member, there isn't a sunset date included in that resolution. It will take another resolution of council to unwind this resolution and take us back to the current code.
Thank you, Kevin. And Mayor, I have one more comment as you're moving into a motion. And as it relates to item number 37 and 38, I appreciate staff's understanding of the financial uncertainty that's going on today, and that we have the opportunity to reevaluate some significant expenses like that. And I hope that we continue to move forward and looking at these with carefully as we move into future meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Council, any other questions? Councilmember Orlando.
Let's go back to Vice Mayor Rowe's question. So the individual understands the entertainment permit. Is that a permit that could be withdrawn if this, or revoked if the individual continues to have bad behavior? Because now that's not tied to the liquor permit anymore, right?
Through the mayor, council member, second question first. Yes, it is no longer tied to the liquor. So the liquor is only anecdotally tied because if you have live entertainment, it's a liquor, but you're asking for permission for the live entertainment. The question of can it be revoked? Absolutely. It's a conditional use permit, and they have to comply with these conditions. And every time I get the opportunity, I like to tell the folks that are listening, we are in the business of compliance, not enforcement. So if we begin to get input from those citizens that, hey, they're not complying with these conditions, we believe they're not, we immediately make contact with that applicant and start working with them to get them into compliance. Revocation is our last resort, but we have been successful in 99.9% of all of our conditional use permits at keeping that compliance.
Okay, so to summarize, this resident has more, the residents have actually more discretion over this today than they did if it's tied to the liquor license. And we have more discretion to enforce it versus the old way. So I think this gives us a little bit more flexibility is what I'm trying to articulate to the resident.
Very true. It is absolutely, since it divorced itself from the concept of tied to liquor and simply just the entertainment, it gives the city total control.
Thank you. Mayor, item 42, just discussion here. I understand our codes contract, constrict, we get them tighter, we loosen them up a little bit. This code here now is perpetual, so we could go back theoretically to signage on every corner, we could go back to a complete disregard for why this code was put in place. When do we know that? I mean, obviously, I'm very passionate about helping our small business owners today. We did this back in 2008, 2009. But again, I'm just a little concerned that this doesn't have a date certain for us to at least come back and look at it again.
So council, my understanding is we could bring that resolution up once we see a time. We're also going to be moving soon into election cycle, which also removes a certain number of restrictions that we can place even upon private businesses. So we've got a window now that we've relaxed this to help local businesses. So I believe that's
And
our
I'm all for
purview
that.
upon staff recommendation or upon council action.
Okay, I'm all for that. I guess I'm a little hesitant about putting a date certain on this tonight because, again, this is to help our business. It may take a year for recovery, and I want to make sure they fully recover, obviously. Or it may take some time. I don't want to say a year. It may take some time frame, so.
And
I'm
again,
okay.
this is very specific that it is not date certain, but it is upon council action with or without the staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
All right, I'm seeing no further comments. Are we ready for a motion, Vice Mayor?
Yes, Mayor. So I move for the approval of our regular meeting consent agenda for Thursday, March 26th, with the continuation of item number 27 out to April 23rd.
I didn't know this, you were so emotional about that item there. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
All right, second by Councilmember Orlando. Council, please vote.
Councilmember McClymans?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, City Clerk. Next on our agenda is a public hearing. Kevin Mayo.
Mayor, council members, this public hearing regards the annexation of about 27.5 acres that's located on the south side of Chandler Heights, about a quarter-mile east of McQueen. The property is currently in the county, and it is going through the annexation process. It is also concurrently going through a rezoning request that is getting very close to starting the public hearing process through this, so this has to lead it. The property is in southeast Chandler. The general plan designates it as neighborhoods. It is also in the southeast Chandler area plan, and it's identified for rural agrarian character, low-density residential. Services are provided to the property both in Chandler Heights and then with, not Olson Ranch, I lost the name of the subdivision to the east. Orchard Heights to the west is also dragging water and sewer down that side. Petition has been circulated. We are not aware of any concerns. And if there's not any questions, I'd be happy to turn it back over to the mayor. I have additional slides, but trying to keep it brief.
Council, any questions? Councilmember Orlando.
Real quick, this is still, the long-range plan is going to be housing?
It is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And it is a rezoning NPP request currently being processed for a single-family subdivision.
Seeing no other comments, that concludes our public hearing, annexation hearing. All right, council, next is our, we don't have any unscheduled public appearances or comments related to the same, City Clerk?
No unscheduled public comments were received.
I'm sorry?
No public, unscheduled public comments were received.
All right, thank you so much. So next is our current events, and I'll be starting. As we all know, and in our community, we are certainly at an unprecedented time with COVID-19. And I do want to take a minute to reassure the community that as council, and I make directions, we do have our cities, our communities, our residents' best interests at heart, while also following state and national recommendations. We've had a lot of emails and requests, and some of these have been beyond our scope because of state actions. Some of these we continue to exercise concern both for residents as well as our small businesses in our community. On March 19th, we did declare a local emergency in Chandler to support the declarations of emergency, both at the state and national levels. And since then, the city also, with that and beyond, has closed many facilities, including our libraries, our recreational centers, and pools due to risks associated with the COVID-19 outbreak. We've promoted the use of several online or phone-based services to continue to provide residents access to city services. Tonight is a good example in order to both protect our residents, our first responders. This is why we have gone to this style of meeting, which will continue until it is deemed safe to, again, to allow our chambers accesses and full availability to the usual style of government. We're supporting executive orders released by Governor Ducey, and I encourage businesses to continue to read the order released March 23rd, which clarify businesses and operations which are deemed essential by our state. Chandler's COVID-19 webpage is regularly updated with information and resources and policies that affect Chandler. We ask you to please continue to follow our social media channels to get our latest information, and be sure to watch the update videos from council regarding important topics related to the pandemic. We've created a dedicated page for business resources, which includes a link to Shop Chandler WebMap, a new interactive platform to help our businesses that interactive platform to help businesses notify residents about services they offer and job opportunities that they have available as well. So we ask you to continue to help flatten the curve by practicing social distancing, proper hand washing, and sanitizing measures. I do want to thank our community for standing by us as we navigate these uncertain times. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, in this during this time of crisis, I think in the city we're doing a lot to respond and try to help flatten that curve. And then what we've seen also through emails to the city and also on a lot of social media platforms out there, a lot of our citizens that want to reach out and help. So last week I did share a video message for those looking to donate items or volunteer to help out our fellow neighbors during this COVID-19 pandemic. So if you are looking to serve our community, I strongly encourage to please reach out to the For Our City Chandler website. So they are working diligently, all of the nonprofits within Chandler, they are working together to make sure that they're taking those inputs and those needs and working together in order to make sure that they're addressing as many people as possible. So most nonprofits have identified that monetary donations along with not just physical material donations, but the monetary donations are also needed. So if you're looking to do that, Chandler is working with those organizations also, like the Salvation Army, to collect the physical donations. So if you want to find out more information, please do visit Please visit forourcitychandler.org for more information. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Wong.
Well, I just want to remind everybody that we do have a census 2020. I will encourage you to fill out the card or do it online by phone to respond to that survey. And population data is very critical. That's be counted. Thank you.
Councilmember Rowe.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't want to be too redundant here from what the Vice Mayor said, and I think folks agree about being charitable at this time. Hey, people have lost their jobs. There's never probably been a greater need in recent history here in Chandler. So please think of Matthews Crossing, think of Ascend, which is right here. All these are right here in Chandler. The Salvation Army, the Boys and Girls Clubs. These folks need your help, and we wish you all the best luck. If you need help, reach out to your local church or synagogue or call for help. Thank you.
Councilmember Orlando.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to piggyback a little bit of what you said about our website and concentrate mostly on our small business. As many of you know, we've been actively working with the state and the national and many local partners, including our Chandler Chamber of Commerce, to make connections to resource to assist our small businesses at this difficult time. As the mayor mentioned, we do have a business resource page. It's a valuable tool. On that page, there's links to resources, to resource like the Small Business Association Economic Injury Disaster Program, which will help businesses meet their ordinary and necessary financial obligations during this pandemic. Also recently, as last night, encouraging news, the Senate passed a $2 trillion package a relief package, which is now going to the House. And I think the mayor has an update. He told me just before this meeting, so I'll let him share the update to that. Thank you, Mayor. In addition to the relief individuals, this much larger package than the previous legislation provides loans for small businesses and large industries to stay afloat. The city business resource page, as well as the Chamber of Commerce resource page, is constantly being updated to assist our community businesses. So we encourage our businesses to share their concerns and needs to this business resource page, both to the council and to the page, so that we can continue to share additional resource information as it becomes available. And again, please be safe. Mayor, I don't want to steal your thunder. You got some even maybe more updated news.
Sure, let me, normally I don't let people who are online, but in the era of social distancing, Councilmember McClymans or Councilmember Stewart, do you have anything to add?
You know,
I could
related
make
to
a quick
COVID
statement. Or
All right.
Stuart, you
Go ahead,
go
Jeremy.
first.
No, go ahead.
All right, thank you.
All right. For those of you that don't know, I'm an asthmatic. I'm a healthy asthmatic, but I'm one nonetheless. And so that said, I've quarantined myself for the time being. I can assure you I love being out, and it pains me to not be there shoulder to shoulder with everybody in the trenches, on the dais, with mayor, my fellow council members, and city staff as we work through these turbulent times. But I can assure you I'm working diligently, afar, and I'm there in spirit, and it's good to see you all, and everybody out there stay safe and healthy. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Councilmember Stewart?
Thank you, Mayor. You know, I think I'll just say something briefly, which is rare for me, but I want, you know, everybody to know that's listening or watching or who will watch this, that we're paying attention and we care. And this is, everything that's happening is terrible for those that have been laid off, for those that are uncertain about what's going on. It's troubling. It's a real thing that's happening. But I could tell you that we are working diligently, taking in all the information that we can, working with staff, and staff is working tirelessly, and I want to commend them for what they're doing, especially some of the directors and the leadership, all of the directors and leadership. But I just want to let you know that we are here, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we get through this. Thanks.
Thank you. So I'll go back to following up with Councilmember Orlando. So the Federal CARES Act stimulus has the intention of releasing about $2.82 billion to Arizona. There's a lot to be resolved with that. There's a lot of things that will be coming that our staff and others have yet to analyze, and we'll be getting more back to you once we know more with that. And I expect over a matter of weeks, perhaps, that we'll be certainly both understand this and money will be being released from that. I also know that our governor's position has been to use state funds to see where are the cracks around this, that we can put some money towards to Arizona residents that this federal piece is not covering. And again, it would be ahead of schedule for me to comment further on that, but there is a lot of action that is trying to address both the people who are concerned about rent, small businesses that are concerned about their rent, people who have been released, who are currently unemployed, who are worried about that. So there's a whole lot of action, and I wish that we could be more careful or more informative, but I anticipate by next week there will be more news coming out. The bill that Councilmember Orlando mentioned was voted on, as he mentioned, by the Senate tonight at 6 a.m. It's scheduled to be 6 a.m. Arizona time tomorrow, 9 a.m. DC time. The House is scheduled to vote on this as well. And barring anything unseen, which seems to be, this seems to have the go-ahead, the president will be signing this later in the afternoon. So stay tuned. You'll have plenty of opportunities to watch press releases, and we will be having our folks analyze this as quick as we can, again, to determine how does that affect Chandler? How does that affect you? City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I just wanted to take this public opportunity to thank the executive leadership team. They're easy to find tonight in the audience, as they are all here. This has been very trying on staff, and this group has definitely risen to the occasion, doing not only their day-to-day work, and many times their day-to-day work exceeds 40 hours a week, but also adding on this public health emergency, and the nights and weekends and everything that you've spent so far in leading your teams has been phenomenal. So I just wanted to publicly thank the executive leadership team here at the city. Thank you, Mayor.
Council, this concludes our meeting. We do have an exec session that will take a couple minutes and then start that. So